Welcome, everyone. We will be small but mighty today. I think mighty in our open mic, mighty in our poets, and mighty for everyone who is turning out at this time of year for poetry, which is a wonderful thing. Yes. Yes, we are recording. So welcome to Fairleigh Dickinson University. We're very proud to host Poets Corner. This will be our last reading of 2022, which has been an eventful year. Before diving in, I want to acknowledge that we're on the traditional and unceded territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. As well, our web hosting is all being channeled through the traditional territories of the Lenni Lenape people in Tinakakkensack, New Jersey, for which we are very grateful. This gives me great pleasure to introduce our first reader for the evening. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a poet and critic living in Toronto. He has published 4 books of poetry and over a dozen chapbooks and edited the anthology Why Poetry Sucks with Jonathan Ball. It's good and fun. He has worked on the Fred Waugh Digital Archive and is the publisher of Modal Press, an online-only poetry micro press. If you haven't checked out their materials, they are well worth the time. I enjoy them every time they come out. Please sign up, subscribe, and you will get new publications on a regular basis. His latest book is Coast Mountain Foot from Talonbooks, and his book Sunny Ways, which I believe we are unofficially launching tonight, will be out in early 2023 with Invisible Books. I will pass it over to you, Ryan. Thank you very much for being with us.
Okay. Thanks, James. It's the unofficial pre-launch event for Sunny Ways. I was thinking about reading from both books, but I was invited to give another reading like 3 days ago, and I read from Coast Mountain Foot there, so I thought I would read from Sunny Ways here. For the selfish reason that I got to read longer at this reading. And I really think, I like to read longer, but I think this is the kind of book that really benefits from these kind of extended sessions. So I hope that's not a bunch of horse shit once you start listening to the book. Thank you all for coming, and thank you to James for asking me. It's nice to see, I don't know who all's in the in-person crowd, but it's nice to see a few friendly people in the Zoom crowd. I'm going to read from my forthcoming book, Sunny Ways. And Sunny Ways, it's actually fitting that I'm coming to you from the scenic confines of my parents' basement in Calgary, because Sunny Ways is very much a Calgary book. It's a book about the kind of denialism that comes with being ensconced in the oil industry, in extractive economics, in the petrostate, and whatever you want to call it. In Calgary, we call it home. So Sunny Ways takes its title from a speech by Justin Trudeau when he won the election in, God, what year was it? 2015. And he kind of paraphrases or steals a bit from Wilfrid Laurier. He says, "Sunny ways, people, a positive politics," something. I'm paraphrasing it poorly. But when I was titling the book, the title came really late. I had basically written that book at that point. And I was thinking, like, what's a title? And I wrestled with a lot of title. It actually sat under a different title for a long time. And I was thinking Sunny Ways. It has this kind of like, this book is all about like optimism, but also about climate change. So what are the different kinds of sunny ways that we have to face off with? So I'm going to read, I was kind of making jokes to my parents earlier that this is a great preview for this book because I'm basically going to be reading the first third of it. The book is 2 poems. I'm going to read the entirety of the first and then the first however many pages of the second. So I'll start by introducing the first poem. The first poem is a poem that was commissioned by Poetry is Dead, the great now dead poetry magazine. They were doing an event at the VAG for an exhibition of the photographs of Edward Burtynsky. And if you don't know Burtynsky's work, he does these great, like extremely huge scale photos of like industrial spaces, but one of the sets is of the tar sands. And so I was one of the people asked to write a poem for this, and I wrote it, and it was published in Poetry is Dead quite a while ago. But this version is like an edited version. So the title of the poem is Hibernia Mon Amour. I'm just going to read it. No, it will be inspiring when the sun rises over the tankers at Kitimat, but no, it will be sublime when the sun sets over Hibernia, but no, it will not be a problem after you shotgun these tailings, but no, there will absolutely be a long tail on these historical conditions, but no, you need to realize that the boom repeats itself, but no, I'm not the one who made it personal, but no, these industries should consider themselves the community, but no, these protesters should better index their anger to the price per barrel, but no, these liberal muggers should get my hands into your pockets, but no, these stomach aches should not keep me from work, but no, there wasn't a refinery there, but no inches of topsoil trucked off somewhere, but no ducks folded into memorials, but no sky as big as Alberta, but no one can become an expert after a quick flyover, but no, the earth should be saved before shutting anything down, but no, James Bay did send a thank you card to the feds, but no, those eco-fascists loved it when I diverted 9 free-flowing rivers to flood an area the size of Belgium, but no, those plumes flower from the faint tails of cranes, but no, I wasn't in great shape before I signed the contract, but no, the Frank slide didn't happen, but no, we may have worked there, but no, we never lived there, but no, we don't have to pull out, but no, I find that artists are often excellent businessmen, but no, I don't find tar that I can't paint in oil, but no, I don't find Smithson's spiral jetty beautiful, but no, I do find Bertinsky's scale breathtaking, but no, maybe you should get those Robert Bateman paintings out of City Hall, but no, maybe you should take some prettier aerial shots of the reclamation, but no, maybe you should help me reclaim the parking in front of my house, but no conclusions about the cause of the fire in Lytton, but no camera phone can truly capture the Linwood Ridge, but no painting can leaden protest of one's home, but no, your safety is for my fences, but no, my engineering could paint something better than that, but no, I owned 3 cars and rode on the bus once, but no, I own the corny romance of the frontier, but no, the hub oil explosion never happened, but no, I goosed my income by tasting a little of everything, but no, there isn't a natural process cheap enough for real estate, but no, these cedars are way too sensitive to changes in light, but no, that junk shot fired into the leak made for great media strategy, but no, I've never betrayed my CEO, but no length of toxic plume will flower into 400 Olympic-sized swimming pools, but no amount of heat will boil the Athabasca River, but no, I won't worry when water skiing across it, but no, I don't find Tintern Abbey beautiful, but no, I'm talking as an investor, but no, we don't ever get to see the impact of our lives in aggregate, but no, we've all walked through the forest and really tried to attenuate, but no, we've forested the planet with what deep geological time intended, but no, I don't identify as a natural resource economy per se, but no, I put schools in mines and factories too, but no, I'd rather get an aerial shot of Lac Mégantic not happening, but no, I parked my car by the lake where we shared a bottle of wine, but no, the maples are about all stripped of leaves now, but no, the birches are not rich in color, but no, I'd have deep water and a horizon, but no, I'd replace lost land with new land by filling open pit mines with water, but no, I'd be a duck too busy navigating the air currents, but no, Baseline Lake looks like any other lake in Athabasca from a distance, but no, we have decades of research that make us horny to test at this scale, but no, we won't be able to submerge Stanley Park to a depth of 3 meters, but no, can you do 30? But no, there's going to be pressure to extract all of it, but no way we're fucking waiting for spring melt. Okay. And now I'm going to stop and reset my timer. So that's what people want to hear about. Oh, thank you for your clapping. I didn't expect it until the end or at all. But I know it's a customary thing at poetry readings that people clap. The second poem I'm going to read from is a poem called Field Guide, which in the book, I'm not going to read the whole thing here. You're welcome. It's an 80-page long poem that I wrote in 2019, kind of as the climate strikes were happening, pre-pandemic, although I edited a lot during the pandemic. Field Guide comes from, actually started as a manuscript in 2011 that I got a Canada Council grant for, and like I drafted out and was really like, I was really excited about. And then as soon as I started editing it, like it lost complete steam because it felt like totally just not urgent at all. But the original Field Guide was a suite of poems, a book-length suite of poems that were about extinction. And thinking about, so the idea was each poem was about an animal that had gone extinct by human hands, basically, like within the time frame of the Anthropocene. But the gimmick was I wasn't allowed to talk about the animal at all, so it was trying to write around this empty space. And then in 2019, I had this idea to pick this manuscript back up and rewrite it, but to try to capture some of that urgency that I thought was missing. So it started as a kind of guide. I took that title seriously. What would it be like to write a guide to life in the 21st century in the middle of climate crisis? So that's where it starts. I'm going to start reading. Field Guide. If I promised you a guide to life in the 21st century, I'm sorry I failed you when it didn't appear. You waited in the tailings, in the extraction fields, where geographies change daily and floods rent everywhere. You without a life jacket when the tide comes in, wet with delights you can hardly bear. A balloon in a bird's gut, a faux volcanic eruption, a series of clouds seeded with debt to investment. But when the tide retreats, you're a pop bottle poured out, stuck at the sink with capital, scrubbing your bits and drills. You frack for everything that molds the surface of your kitchen countertop. No chipped paint on the cabinets, no more cracks in the tile. Audubon sketches you facing down the AC because it's hot and this is where you live. After you're done, nothing will die again. Your utopian hands will hold in fellowship's misspilled paperwork and any troubles along the heart of feeling, those little kindnesses, like the thought that all this history is going somewhere. We'll only remember the pleasure of the walk between Maine and Cambie, between Kingston and Queen, across 16th or along 17th, trading bald tires for worn souls to circumscribe the freeway sweepstakes of a logistical life, whose ticking mileage, measured in blocks, is never more than one, but never less than 1,000. Little flowers in their little beds won't behold deep, secluded form. Some species are migrants, other species scorch the territory, describe territory as progress, describe progress as everything. But in the beginning, your hands fold in a calm shipping terminal to inaugurate a straightforward wish, to press your face deep into the grass, to press your tongue deep into the dirt, to press to the root of love, a romantic diorama winding pipelines through all of this intelligible world. How do you move the mood when affection leads you on? When you think you can describe your feelings, you fight to forget territory, laying out a vast banquet of compliance, a sleight of hand meant to refuse realism. No, refuse swings your telescope down to own all your runoff, all your compositional methods, your weaving eyes, your metric speech, your pale index breathes through fracture rather than kinship, huffing Jefferson's faith that extinction is a myth and nothing vanishes since every race of animals received from their maker certain economies of nature. No instance permitted any one race of her animals to become extinct. No, this animal still exists in the northern and western parts, adding the light of a taper to that of the meridian sun. No, this animal transplanted unfriendly climates into its fences. As rock grows in layers and as the branches of trees grow in every direction, the annihilation of any species, so unexampled in any economy, the bones exist, therefore, nature is a never-ending circle. No, this animal species, put into a train or motion, probably still moves in that train. A lot of things are moving. And it's hard to see what halts your great chain of animacy, other than a small secreted tendency to choreograph discovery by stacking lens on lens into a cracked panorama that subtly anchors your chain to a lovely water testing caked into drainage basins, where a bright sun coaxes the banks to the banks coaxially. You don't want to represent harm, to reproduce extinguishment, but do want to extinguish reproduction, to stop elimination, but not stop stoppage. You try to remember what Trudeau says. We must forget many things if we want to live together. But your cuffs are wet with all this crisis. Crisis is one word that pools. Crisis tides over and over. Crisis wells up in this report. Crisis settles in the banks. Crisis is a word that settlers use. Crisis is the word that you use because you're a settler. But who is the crisis? Just look at your paycheck signed in the name of crisis. Didn't crisis pay your rent? Didn't crisis spring for groceries? Crisis bulwarks against denial stabilizing the dam by ignoring the leak rather than hand-wringing over the leak in advance of filling it, rather than destroying the dam, which will swell the river out into a kind of harm too. Isn't the dam part of the land now? Aren't the pipes that run through the city's complicated infrastructures part of the river now? Isn't the river pumped into your toilet where you shit into the river? And its modernist filtration asks, how do you resolve crisis? By filtering out the ways your shit is part of the crisis. Because someone drinking your shit somewhere downriver is just a metaphor, you say. But that metaphor travels downstream while you sniff your own asshole, discover its material, then ask your mirror, what about your family? What about your friends who depend on that job, that tar and that logic, that assumption habitat exceeds, that advances class to accelerate ease with a provincial comportment that you say is the province's jurisdiction when the province makes a fiery speech instead of dealing with the province's fires. But you take a deep breath and you look out your window to try to forget it's not so smoky. So long as you're inside, you reach for your phone, frame the shot carefully, caption it, hashtag my Hiroshima, the gentle breeze and blue sky, spring smell of sakura, cherry notes to the sun, now trending on Instagram. A small secret tendency to frame discovery in terms of ownership. You say no one owns it, this landscape that no one owns, and because no one owns it, it's a landscape that no one owns. No one patented this landscape because you discovered that no one owns anything except for you. In the smoke, you put on your yellow vest, parade your F-150 through your version of pride, take a long drag of a bird burned from books, hawks banked in the slow bourgeois flap of gulls. Nothing vanishes, is gone ever. You raise your sign into a reactionary account, a shell history of gunfire, the law's charred folly, a long chain of crisis you shoot from the train window, catalogs a range of ghosts that worship the stump, golden brass turn, dates forward, from the stump of a mast, ghost shape of the tree, dawns a coat of arms, water stretch checklist, your ankles magnetized to the data in these forests. You skin a coyote's tail, wound around a telegraph line. Stories recount the sky, accounts of the tamed sun as its urbanizing grid mouths estuaries out to ship each car to market. Slurry oozing ancient meal to the body, a kind of neighborlessness treading through the quadrat of your renovated kitchen. No glimpse of the timberline observes the passing hands of the densifying city. But if you set the frame right, that frame is exactly a set of patents to increase your easement. You walk through the woods to observe all your pleasure, collect all these frames to slide out of weather. Your cautious rhythm, a degraded habitat, an imploded hospital in the sky over the natural fantasy you opt to occupy. What's that sectional cost? The cost of what new aesthetic? A passenger pigeon-shaped hole, a series of luxury condos along the downtown waterline, the buzz of life good at sorting garbage, paper in a yellow bag, cans in a blue bin, everything onto a boat, capsized into the ocean. A city in space better than sorting garbage into the rays of each billing caress. What's the reward for sorting yourself past the hand of congestion, outdoors in the wheat? But in the footsteps of your last waking glance, you try a story that shreds story you learned in seminar. A cheat sheet deserializing need. First, live without water, then oxygen, then carbon. No ethics, no aesthetics, no dispersal, no demand, just a deterritorializing wave of a million hands wishing you some good news down the Chiron. When I love how eco-celebs meet to decide the fate of the little people, I adore the buttercups who pray that temps hold their souls like a thermostat. Oil pours from your eyes so that your children won't know to finance. They'll bet on quick changes and a diet proving only that no one will need to live without disease. Each of them will dream of a slow swim to burial, a dream whose price is a textbook's disapproval. But that's hypothetical. You're not having any kids, and you receive $10,000 from the Canada Council for the Arts to write a book titled Field Guide that would grapple with extinction by writing around it. Each poem an entry for an animal made extinct during the Anthropocene, a word you won't learn for 3 more years that marks a social contract for the uneven distribution of environmental burden. You threw those poems out. They were a magic trick at best, a waste of time at worst, because of their lack of alarm and a turn in your thinking. And now here you are, awash in urgency, writing this poem titled Field Guide, trying to salvage something from all that wasted time. But what have you accomplished? You can't drink salt water. You can't live in a desert. You can't live in the fiction that settlement patterns are cyclical, that a clutched cameo makes one step, your covered mouth another. And when the cloud comes in the night and the earth finally gets its revenge, you'll make an impassioned stampede northward and westward until you form the far-tossed spray of that monstrous flood. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Thank you.